Should I wait to put my house on the market to get maximum dollar? Should I buy now? Should I wait? What should I do? This is an absolute interesting question that I'm getting asked every single day. As the market's a little bit tighter, as people that want to move, that bought less than 2 or 3 years ago, don't have the luxury of the crazy appreciation. The nuances to the answer to this question are wide, and I'm going to try and break it down and make it as simple as possible for you next. If you don't know me, I'm Jeremy Kane with eXp Realty. I serve the Denver metro area in northern Colorado, but I'm a part of a 3,300 agent network that is close knit, and I can help you and be a part of your real estate transaction across the country. So if you ever need anything, please DM me, comment below, reach out. I'm at JKCORealtor_ over on Instagram, YouTube, living in the Denver suburbs. Do all the things, like all the things, comment, help me out, engage a little bit, and let's get rolling. So, first and foremost, buying a home right now in this market, still a little bit less competition than we usually have at this point, even at the lower price points, right? It seems like things are going. I have a client that I recently had a weird deal. The seller couldn't bring enough cash to the table. Yes, the seller bring cash to the table to close because it was a quick turnaround for him. Bought it just last January, and we had to just decide, okay, do we want to solve this in court or do we want to just go find another house? We allowed the seller to get out. He reimbursed us for the inspection, gave us our earnest money back, and we went out and found another house, a better house, and we're under contract within, literally 2 days of, that contract going away. So buyers do have a little bit of time right now where the competition, at least in this market, isn't as fierce. And so that's one thing that I want to talk about. If we wait for rates to drop, if we wait for more inventory, that perfect house to come on the market, well, that perfect house is probably going to fit someone else's measures and the competition will be fierce. You're going to be paying more and so on. So that's one piece of the puzzle. Inventory, typically, when inventory rises, the buyers will come out, in the spring based on the normal real estate cycle. And if that's going to happen, then there's more competition, even though there's more inventory. I don't see inventory inflating to a point where, we're going to have this crazy buyer's market. And that was a nuanced question that I had recently. Are we in a buyer's market? Who cares what kind of market we're in? I'm telling you right now, in most houses, in most cases, the buyers have more leverage than they've had in the last 5 years because sellers that are on the market right now are wanting to make a move. They have to sell. And the buyers that are in the market are serious. They're sick of waiting for interest rates and so on. So there is a little bit less as they go because, when the new administration was going to take over, everyone was told that the interest rates were going to crash and the world was going to be amazing. Well, that's nothing against the new administration. It's just not realistic based on, interest rates being tied to the economy and the stock market and the bond market and all the things. So as we kind of move forward, when is the best time to buy a house? Best time to buy a house is when you're ready. The truth is, if you get in before, rates drop and the competition goes up and prices raise, then you're going to own a house and be the beneficiary of that appreciation. And you can always jump into the lowest interest rate possible with a refi. So that's that. Now the nuance piece comes, when's the best time to put it on the market? Jeremy, I just bought this house 2-3 years ago. We're kind of tight, especially when it comes to the fees and the things that we have to pay to move and the expenses it's going to be. When's the best time to put it on the market? Well, historically it's been, between Super Bowl weekend, which we just had, fly Eagles fly, beat the Chiefs, good job. And kind of that mid-April kind of Easter timeframe, right? In Colorado, the busiest weekends, the best times to sell over the last 2 or 3 years have been Super Bowl Sunday weekend, which was really weird one year, all the way to Easter weekend, and a couple things in between there. So certainly there's that, right? That's the best time to put your house on the market, when there's the most buyers, so that the buyers can compete and prices raise up, right? And so if we're in that situation, we need to look at that. The bottom line is we need to make sure we're still paying our mortgage. We need to make sure we're paying, our debts. We need to make sure we're paying our bills, because ultimately I don't want anything like what just happened to me and my buyers. We're under contract, paid for an inspection, and the seller's like, I just physically can't do that, right? Because we were in a pretty tough spot. Do we want to tie this up in court like my buyer had a right to, through specific performance and such? But does that make sense, right? Does it make sense just to have a court case for 4, 5, 6 months while this guy either finds enough money to bring to the table because he wanted to sell the house, he just physically could not? Or do we just say, okay, here's the deal. You go your way, we'll go our way, we'll go find another house, which is what we did, right? So you need to make sure that you're paying attention to that payoff. Your mortgage balance is not your payoff, right? That doesn't include interest, that doesn't include any, late payments, things like that might come in. So make sure that we are focused on that if we're selling. But hypothetically, the best time to sell is when there's the most buyers in the market. There will be the most buyers in the market when the interest rates dip, 0.5%, 1/4%, depending on it. There will be more buyers coming to the market when the weather gets nicer, especially in Colorado, when it snows, sometimes things kind of shut down. So it's not a, specific day. Like I said, Super Bowl weekend 1 week, 1 year, Easter weekend, and everything in between. But currently, right now, pretty decent time to be getting ready and amping up and trying to get the most. Traditionally in Colorado, as we kind of come into the market, the spring kind of goes up, and then we kind of have a slow slough off through the end of the year. Coloradans love camping, they love being outdoors, they love doing all the things. So that's kind of what we generally see here in our market here in Colorado. So certainly something we need to take into effect when I'm answering this question, right? So buying now versus buying later, pretty much when you're ready, let's get in the market and go. We can always take advantage of lower interest rates. Selling, it's a nuanced approach. Certainly if you have, a lot of things can happen, right? If you have a super unique property, my thought is get it on the market, keep it on the market, because you never know when that unique buyer is going to be ready. If your, home is a little bit more, in a neighborhood, kind of basic, there's, comps, not basic. I don't want to say basic. Your home's not basic, but if it's, if there's more houses like it that sell on a day-to-day basis, then we can time the market a little bit based on your timeline. But ultimately, the most important thing when you're ready to buy or you're ready to sell is what your goals are and what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to get max dollar, let's play the market a little bit. Let's find that time where the buyers come out, right? If you are going through a life change and you need to sell your house, let's get it on the market to sell the house, right? That's the bottom line. Your situation and what you're doing currently is huge, right? Just as it is buying, right? I will tell you that 95% of the time, it's the best time to get into a home and start building your wealth and equity in that home right now. But if you're living for free, if you're helping your mom, you're doing that, you're caretaking for your parents, whatever that is, you have free rent, you have great, setup, well, maybe it's not the best time to buy. I would say it probably is, because eventually that's going to go away and you need to have somewhere to go. But maybe it's a house that you're, going to take over, and that's your ultimate goal, is to own that house or whatever it is, right? There's all kinds of different scenarios that can play. The bottom line is, I would love for you to reach out to me, DM me, send me a text, give me a call, and let's have a conversation about planning this. Because the worst thing you can do is make the plan in your own mind because you're embarrassed of this, you're embarrassed of that, or you're not ready for this, or you're not ready for that. And then ultimately you just kind of play the game, and then you call me and you're like, okay, Jeremy, I'm ready. And then I send you over to a lender, or I look at your, payoff statement and I say, okay, this is what's going on, right? If you don't want to live in the house you currently live in, let's have a conversation and I can help you strategize. This is what I do for a living, and I want to be on your team. I will not press you into selling or buying or doing anything that's not my gig, but I will strategize with you to make sure that you have the greatest opportunity to reach those goals that you would like to through your real estate and building wealth through real estate.